put it out there, you know.
Baldwin Winata.
He's entering a new arc. This might be his prime.
Yes, it might be his prime. You know, sometimes ball players, they kind of have that buff like Saitama would get. But back to the drafting phase, a few interesting bans now on the second phase, that Joy and that X-Borg taken away. Basically just taking away, you know, back then you would kind of like take away the X-Borg to just kind of deny a runoff of comfort pick, but now they take it away, so will James operate the same as Aran will?
I feel like it's possible. I feel like right now for ONIC, they're just looking at burst damage, right? Valentina, Roger, and Arlet, this is a very aggressive setup, and they're trying to eliminate all the frontliners that can kind of allow Team Liquid to try and open up the map and get information. The Hylas and X-Borg are notorious for this right now, especially with the, by the way, you have to remember that Thunderbelt has been very prolific right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people like abusing it, stacking it up all the way from the early game. But for Team Liquid, they're definitely looking for something more of a front-to-back. They have good sources of damage output, magical and physical, technically from the Primal Wrath and Loyi as well. That is DPS still. So they're trying to limit the assassins here from Kyrie. So you're seeing already a different mindset coming in. But Fnatic ONIC bringing up the Cho.
They take away the Cho from Yawi. You know, we have been talking about this. The Cho has been a comfort pick for Yawi. He's been very, very solid with this hero, and it kind of like just enables him to make the plays. But I feel like that's not going to only be Yawi's stick. There will be other heroes up for grabs, but of course, a little fact here last season, Team Liquid ID's first pick mid-hero had a win rate of 44.44%. So that's half of what you're supposed to get. I feel like that's kind of low. But we haven't really talked about Richie now. Mirko, what do you think Richie will be able to bring that Jaskill wasn't able to bring? Wait, what? Julian before that. Excuse me.
Yeah, Julian and the Minotaur, really good way, by the way, for TLID to actually wrap up their draft, because I was thinking Fnatic ONIC have definitely kind of outplayed TLID in the first phase of the draft, picking up the Valentina, the Arlet, so they actually have a lot of ways to steal those ultimates. Back to the question that you asked earlier. Richie, I think he brings a lot of stability to TLID, where back in the day, or just last season, Jaskill, he's more of a flashy mid laner. He's a mid laner that actually tries to look to carry the team. But with a team like this, full of all-stars, full of teams, full of players that actually want to make plays, you really need a stable mid sometimes, right? And Richie, I think, brings that to the table for TLID. Just a bit of stability in the mid lane, especially now considering you got James too. Add another playmaker. You need someone that just sits down, plays mid, someone like Arashi.
Who goes 0-7.
Hey, hang on a minute. Oh, shout out to KB for exposing him.
Shout out KB for that violation. But yeah, rounding out the draft, your thoughts, Arashi?
Again, Fnatic ONIC going for burst damage right here. And for Team Liquid, I thought that the Minotaur was going to come up personally, so not too surprised there. The Julian, I think, is a great option here. You can be aggressive, you're technically an assassin as well. You can help with the wave clear, which is so important in the active tempo gaming. And when you look at the Empowered Chain as a card control tool, there are a lot of ways for Team Liquid to stop and stall out the attempts for Fnatic ONIC right here. So it comes down now to execution. For Team Liquid, it's all about playing the team fight, using that diversion. For Fnatic ONIC, it's about being aggressive.
They have to be aggressive, and they have to do it now. The Sky Kings against the Cavalry as the opening match of MPL ID Season 14. Into the Line of Dawn we go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first match of MPL Indonesia Season 14. Just from the crowd alone, maybe even from Papulu's voice, you know exactly the stakes at play here. The pressure that a lot of these players, especially for James, I wonder how he's going to actually survive this pressure, at least for their first game. His first game ever in MPL Indo. Yeah. Is he fully prepared for what's to come?
The preparation is something that is going to be very important, because James, this stage is going to be very, very huge for him to make a statement, especially up against, you know, Lutpi, who has been able to prove himself in MPL ID Season 13. Of course, statement needs to be made by James.
For sure. Right now, of course, Fnatic ONIC with the stronger early game power spikes, they're going aggressive, but look at the gold lane, OCW.
Oh, Spear of Misery too. Gugun will just walk down and pick up the pick. But the CW is way too aggressive. Loses his Purify too, and that's also the gold crab. So a lot of gold for TLID in the beginning of the game.
Overestimation there coming in from CW, and he gets punished for that. And here is now, of course, you want it to be kind of like Snowball, because it is a lane bully, especially against a Moskov who doesn't really have the range, but has that escape mechanism. Kyrie, though,
Gonna be caught there just a bit of damage with what Wolf usually calls the vacuum. That's a yin-yang reaction.
Right. Again, the emblems earlier though, you saw that there was a basic emblem actually used by Kabuki here. He wants to sustain, he knows the lane can be difficult against Harith, so that's the option he went for. And for Team Liquid as well, Yawi went for the firmness and tenacity combo, so he's just purely looking to be more of a bit of a frontliner to ensure his team can make plays, but look at that!
James gonna be caught like it, Pounce coming down, Kyrie picking up the kill down below to make it all but even again, right as a turtle spawns in the game.
Oh, this turtle will be up for the taking for Fnatic, ONIC, especially James now having to walk back to his lane to defend this turtle. Will TLID, the Team Liquid Indonesia, just relinquish this, or will they fight for this? I feel like it's going to be very close now. Keyboy.
Oh, try to go for the steal on the orange buff, forces Goku to use the retreat. Now they're gonna go for the invade. Keyboy still has the ult. Look, final slapping and James back into the way of the dragon. Not able to pop in the primal rat. The Minute's Fury gets popped down, but it only knocks Lutpi up. Now with another knock up down, Lutpi still able to escape with the vengeance. Split back in with the vengeance, getting the sustain. Goku unable to get the kill, and TLID get completely outplayed by Fnatic ONIC.
My goodness, Lutpi, Houdini, and Richie now under pressure as well. Keyboy just trying to make up even more space, zoning out that Luo Yi. A good turtle take coming in, and Lutpi just survives for so long.
I mean, he just made a play again and again, man, with the vengeance. That's Arlott gameplay for you. I think for Team Liquid, they gotta be a bit more careful about this. You're seeing the way Fnatic ONIC is playing the fights, man. They're going in and out, and they're very annoying with how they're positioning some of their heroes on the sides, right? Keyboy was just taking away so much attention that when, by the time Team Liquid can go for a play, they were the ones who were engaged on by Lutpi, even though they were the ones who originally were the ones walking towards the fight to begin with. With a 1.6k gold advantage right here, it's gonna be a bit difficult for Team Liquid to try and pull ahead. We talked about statements, right? As much as his statement is for Kyrie, for Lutpi, it is for Guggen as well, because we've always seen him being mentioned as being good on the assassin, but he hasn't really pulled off or showed that performance just yet.
Yeah, talent predictions by Gope has seen a few talents up predicting towards Fnatic ONIC, but now, so take a look at the item being made here. No Thunderbelt for Kyrie, he opts for the Wind Talker, which is kind of much more aggressive, and you get that attack speed and as well as that clear speed. Early damage in the few minutes of the first game.
On top of that, Lutpi has the Thunderbelt, a great synergy with the kit of the Arlott. But that means that on the Arlott here, he can itemize a bit more aggressively, just the way Lutpi likes it, and still be relatively tanky enough for that late game. So that's one more issue that Team Liquid has to keep in mind here. They do have the advantage still when it comes to the prolonged damage, when it comes to the long team fight. Look at Yawi though, being set behind.
Diversion, Kyrie spots him though this time. He walks into the right bush. Yawi is able to escape for a bit. Now flickers back towards the turtle. Now Minute's Fury gonna be popped in. Kyrie still is able to out-retreat Guggen. Now gets brought back again by the way of the dragon, and Lutpi claims the kill.
There has been talks about Kyrie's retribution not being on point, but he out-retries the Retrie King. Keyboy just looking to even exert more pressure. As a good zoning coming in from Yawi wasn't enough, and San's looking for even a play here.
Ooh, terrifying them down, man, and the layering of CC, by the way, for Fnatic ONIC has been absolutely phenomenal.
And look at the wave here they have at every single lane. They're always in the right place at the right time. There is a diversion available for Team Liquid ID, but they're just not allowed to actually make that play happen. The mid lane is completely controlled by the aggression, by Keyboy, just constantly being a nuisance, not recalling to the base, just standing around, recalling, as we see right here. And because of that, Team Liquid are always one step behind right here. Even if you look at the jungle, King Guggen hasn't been relatively invaded, but he is 2 levels below from Kyrie.
And Richie hasn't been able to kind of maximize this Luo Yi potential as James looks for Keyboy.
Good onward to fight the Sun Crew. Now immobilized. Keyboy still able to escape. What James? Not in range. He used the flicker to try to gap close, but still wasn't enough.
It was Lutpi, and now it was Keyboy who cheats death for the second time. And he just survives that long after what looked like a death sentence for him.
That's a tilter, man. It was so close yet so far. And now it's back to the drawing board. ONIC now setting up a trap once more, just waiting around. And look at Sans picking out the Primal Wrath. So when it comes down to it, when they go for a long, drawn-out fight, there's a chance that Fnatic ONIC can still get the better of Team Liquid. They have solutions available, and with the gold advantage increasing more and more, you can see that it's going to be more difficult for Team Liquid to even open up the map. They're looking at more crowd control, more frontliners. But even with a Minotaur, even with an Edith, now they're always on the back foot just because of Keyboy here, just zoning with the presence alone. He's not using a lot of spells, a lot of skills when he's just trying to do this and push Team Liquid back.
And even Guggen opted for the Bloodwings, a much more defensive build in which you would expect the Julian to snowball to get that burst going on. The Fnatic ONIC just on the front foot of Team Liquid ID. This is looking from bad to worse for them. And now they're looking for Keyboy for the second time, but Keyboy just a nuisance with the Cho. He has been making plays here and there. Final slash!
We find Guggen, but he's unable to fully capitalize on that final slash there. Guggen, obviously on the Julian, still very flexible. He's, what's the term? Usually?
Elusive.
No, like slippery. There
Sly.
you go. Slippery.
Yeah,
He's slippery.
He is very slippery.
Elusive works there. Elusive, slippery, kind of.
I think slippery is more meme.
And you can take a look at Kabuki having that golden staff. Will this be the power spike? Because you would expect the Moskov to kind of just ramp up that attack speed, and then you could get a few spears here and there, and Moskov does get scarier as the late game goes. Are they going to bank on Moskov alone, or will Julian be rising up again on the page?
At this point, when it comes to DPS, they kind of have to. Julian, as good as the empowered basic attacks are from the passive, he's still very much burst in nature. And for Fnatic ONIC, with Keyboy rushing the Athenas, by the way, it's going to be so difficult because he's going to be negating a lot of that magical damage. So Kabuki is who I think Team Liquid has to look at to try and stop Keyboy from just being this massive problem.
Yeah, game fact like Opay, but a final slash missed before that. Team Liquid with the highest first blood rate, 59.99%. We also touted Super Ken as the first blood king, but as the team with the most first blood, you would expect Team Liquid Indonesia to kind of like have at least some sort of retaliation, but again, the zoning potential coming in from Fnatic ONIC is insane. Keyboy has been everywhere around the map, and Team Liquid ID feels like they can't really address, even with this Roll Yi having that backline access potential, they haven't been able to do so.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad still, despite, you know, obviously the 3,700 gold lead is looking bleak for TLID in the mid game, but if you take a look at their structures, it's still mostly up. They've only lost some tier 1s actually, and they've actually kind of equalized in that department, getting trades around the map, so it's not as bad as it looks so far. They should still be able to look for that power spike, like you mentioned, for Kabuki and Guggen.
Yeah, the power spikes, of course, being eyed upon, eyeballs towards the items. But how long will Team Liquid ID just stand there and wait for their items to go? This Lord in the hands of Fnatic ONIC for the taking. Looks like they want to contest this. Another final slash.
Could have been his fury though. San's still able to displace himself. Primal Rat used up. Now Retro Guggen wins it out. Yawi gonna be caught in the back, but they've already secured a neutral objective. That's another member down to trade for the neutral objective. TLID, they get their carries out and they'll sacrifice just their frontliners.
The Retribution King. Once a prince, now a king. He steals the most important objective, which is the Lord Lupi!
3-man final slash. Kabuki gonna be mauled down by Kyrie, and he goes under the turret to secure another. Guggen falls as well. Kyrie, in his first game back in MPL Indo, picks up a triple under the base turret.
Killer instinct from Fnatic ONIC. Out of nowhere, an explosion of action. As Team Liquid, we're kind of underestimating the threat. We talked about the burst damage from Fnatic ONIC, and you're seeing it there. 3 members deleted out of nowhere with the Lord walking in the top side. Team Liquid are unable to capitalize and even lost a structure in the bottom side as well. CW picked up the Holy Crystal earlier, and Kyrie now has the Sky Piercer too. It's going to get more difficult for Team Liquid if they can't maintain the front line. They have DPS available right here, but if the front line gets deleted just like that, there's no way, man. They have to find ways to draw this fight out even longer.
Talked about both these XP laners, James and Lutfi, both playmakers, both so creative, so proactive to make the plays, but it has been only Lutfi in the first 10 minutes of the game. James nowhere to be seen. This is looking bleak for Team Liquid ID, as now Fnatic ONIC just sieges forth towards that top lane, even just giving more pressure. Now going back to the build, Sky Piercer being opted as the, you know what, 5th item for the Roger, for Kyrie. You would expect the Sky Piercer to be made in the first minutes of the game as the first build, first item or second item, but to get the stacks, of course. But what is the idea of making the Sky Piercer as kind of like your last item?
Well, the longer the game goes, the more the rest of your teammates have damage as well. So the opponents get lower. Like we saw earlier, 3 members immediately nuked down. So with the Sky Piercer, it's a lot more dangerous now. Whereas earlier, if Kyrie went for the Thunderbelt earlier, right, it allows him to get a bit more slows available, a bit more tankiness as well if he wants to be all up in the front line. So I think it's a great choice in itemization because for the most part, Team Liquid aren't really all that squishy either. Ludwig though looking for a chance to make a play once more right here. Even with Purifies, the whole team is just forced to back away.
Ludwig just walking them down, telling them to go back to the base.
Man.
But I do have a fun fact here for everybody back at home. TLID in the last 2 seasons of MPL, they've always been able to overcome Fnatic ONIC in the first leg, and that being also 2-0 wins. It was 2-0 to Aura, then now Liquid in Season 13, and it was also the same in Season 12. First leg when Iran first joined James. The Communist Fury still there, knocking up Kyrie. They're still going to be able to displace themselves. King Gugun! The Communist Fury traded upon them again by Sans. Kyrie still able to escape. Kabuki! Spear of Destruction to the back. Sans still able to escape for a bit. Goes for the win of crown, and Ludwig tries to go for the trade. Does it in style. Kabuki claims a double still, though. And it's a win for TLID for now. 3 members taken down right as the fun fact comes around.
The late game power of Team Liquid ID in manifestation. The Moskov just riles to the backline of Fnatic ONIC with Kabuki carrying that fight and the Lord in their eyes now. Could this be the saving grace for Team Liquid ID?
I think it's a great play for Team Liquid to just rely on their crowd control. G-Boy makes a very bold play right there, but Team Liquid will be able to secure that Lord finally. And with their composition, relying more on being able to group as 5, to try and engage those 5 as 5 without being caught out of position, this Lord is going to be so beneficial for them. Fnatic ONIC, of course, have a lot of burst damage. They have a lot of true damage as well coming in from the Endless Battle, the Thunderbelts, the Starlium even in the hands of CW. They can clear the Lord fast, but because they're bursty in nature, if they use all their spells onto the Lord, then Team Liquid can look for a big engage. Yaoi probably won't be able to do so, but JMZ can pull off a big engage. And looking at his own items, man, Blood Wings. Actually, no, that's King Gugun. Actually, my mistake.
Thunderbelt
got a bit too hype. But yes, Thunderbelt with the full tankiness, he is doing a lot of damage right there. And the game has been going on long enough that those Thunderbelt procs have been kind of stacked up.
We gotta talk about that bounty, man, because they were ahead by 7,000 gold for Fnatic ONIC. The fact that Kyrie died gave the shutdown away, but gave the shutdown to the worst possible member you could give it to.
Yeah.
Kabuki got it off the Moscow, the late game power for TLID. He just gets online so much quicker now. And that's why, you know, with all the structures that they've been able to keep despite the Fnatic ONIC wins in the first few neutral objectives, that's why I said for TLID, it's not over. It's not as bad as it looks.
Yeah, and JMZ doesn't really need to be that playmaker. He could just be in frontlining for the team, just tanking all the damage coming in from Fnatic ONIC and just absorbing that, soaking it all for himself. And now for Fnatic ONIC, back to the storyline, it feels like Team Liquid ID is always going to be their kryptonite in the opening legs, in the opening season of MPL ID. So now for Fnatic ONIC, they have to flip the script, they have to change this. It's Team Liquid. Take a look at their lineup as well. This is such a versatile lineup for such a late game. If you're able to drag it back to like, what, 15, 16, 20 minutes, they have the power from the Moskov, the Julian, the burst potential as well. And Richie, we haven't been able to see that, you know, playmaking, diversion, flashy type of things that we have been expecting from him. But he's still keeping it for later, and Fnatic ONIC has to be able to, you know, up their guard even more.
I think Fnatic ONIC also has to avoid fights in the jungle at this point. I mean, the only reason why they were losing that fight so massively was because Yaoi was able to land a massive Minion's Fury and kind of zone everyone away. It landed on Kyrie at least, that I can see, and even that was enough to kind of like slow down the damage potential from Fnatic ONIC and allow Team Liquid to try and just use these combos, right? The fact that King Gugun also came in and did a ton of damage with the Julian. If this was a more spread out fight, a more open fight, which we saw in the first few skirmishes from Fnatic ONIC, it's going to be a lot more difficult for Team Liquid to try and get their damage off. They're going to really be relying only on JMZ and Kabuki perhaps to really have that reliable DPS. So I think that's where they have to try and avoid these fights, because even before talking about the Minotaur, the Edith, the Lohi, right? When the Lohi was meta, we saw that in a fight on a thin corridor in the jungle, you almost never wanted to try and do that because the Lohi just procs so many stacks, so many passives, and does so much crowd control and damage. So I think this all relies on how well Fnatic ONIC can kind of, I don't know, draw the fight out to open areas where they can be the ones that kind of hide in the bushes, hide on the sides, and go for these crazy flanks that can catch Team Liquid off guard. But keep in mind, the diversion is still a very big factor here that Team Liquid can use to surprise a Fnatic ONIC, especially because they haven't been using it for the past couple of minutes.
With the X Factor, the surprise tool for Team Liquid ID, as they take a look at the Lord, sieging it soon, and they will just kind of counter-initiate, counter-engage to the players of Fnatic ONIC because they have so much damage now.
Hey.
One can still play with the final slash.
Not the Yaoi though. Ministry is popped up, flickers forward. Oh, Spirit of Destruction doesn't connect in the back.
Miss.
Kyrie secures it. Good with a crown with the Ministry Fury turned around. T-Boy buys Immortality, jumps into the midst of it all. Kyrie gonna be able to just scratch them down. And Kabuki, only now does he make his way towards the Lord Pit, but it's all too late. James was left alone, isolated. Gugun just trying to find a bit of compensation, something, anything. But Fnatic ONIC deny it away from him.
That's just a beautiful play from ONIC, man. To begin with, Ludpi goes for the final slash as a threat, as a, a bluff almost. And Team Liquid were kind of discouraged. They moved backwards, and that's where Fnatic ONIC immediately jumped on the Lord to try and clear it out. And because of that, you saw that Team Liquid were caught off guard. They were forced to use their spells at a less ideal moment, and that's why the Spear of Destruction also missed. It was thrown at the Lord, but the fights happened in the jungle of Team Liquid. Now with the Lord marching down, Fnatic ONIC looking for one more play to really seal the deal.
That was an insult to injury, missing that Spear of Destruction. As Fnatic ONIC crack open the base of Team Liquid ID, they have to hold their ground. Oh, a slash towards Yaoi. Oh, they're engaging in front, but they have so many high ground tools to play with. The burst, the poke as well, looking towards Ludpi.
Do they have enough? That's the question. Primal Wrath used up by James, now onto the Lord. Lord making the base quite vulnerable. Fnatic ONIC decide not to go for it just yet. San's already using Primal Wrath. Great enhanced sword to escape from the final slash there. As Kabuki marches forward. Oh, luckily for him, no final slash from Ludpi. But he calculated that well. For TLID, like you said, good wave clear, and they still will be able to see another day in this game.
Kabuki's feeling it. He's blitzing forward. He's much more confident now. The fact that he has that damage needed, and they could still hold on to their own base for so long because they have sustainable damage, they have that burst, they have that control with the Luoyi, with the Moskov, and then you have JMZ as that front line to just layer up the damage and the defenses coming in from Team Liquid ID. So Fnatic ONIC, they have to halt their movements to take down the Crystal.
And right now, we saw that Kabuki went for that aggressive play because he knew he had the Purify, worst case scenario, but he needs to try and keep in mind that it's not only about the crowd control. The way Fnatic ONIC works, it's all damage, right? If CW and Kyrie both hit him with an empowered basic attack and maybe a Lycan Pounce, one additional spell above it, that could be enough to immediately delete Kabuki off the face of the Land of Dawn. So he needs to be worried more about the real crowd control, right? Death, getting taken out of the fight completely. You can see Richie build up the Winter Crown as well, anticipated the next fight to be an absolutely messy one. With 20 seconds on the clock, with Team Liquid still having the potential to go for the diversion play, to go for the Spear of Destruction play again. It failed once already. Will they dare to try and pull it off one more time? Yaoi even going for the Winter Crown. Everyone banking on having just a bit more outplay potential here to avoid the bulk of the burst damage. Because again, they know that once they survive the initial burst, they have more ways to try and fight back, especially with the Minotaur that can heal everyone up.
And now he can do what Sans has been able to do to him, right? Minion's Fury, Winter Crown. So you get the knockup, but you stay very safe.
The Winter Crown will be very, very good. Yaoi kicked back though.
James walks forward, Minion's Fury now. Good Winter Crown there. Use up with the Minion's Fury too. Yaoi finding a 4-man there. Sans gonna be isolated. Final slash cancelled away. Ludpi still finds him. Richie takes Sans away. Kyrie in the back still trying to go forward. Kills Kabuki. Getting rid of the Immortality. The motivation roar will make it hard for Kyrie to go for it, but he'll still be able to find it all the way. Buys the Immortality just in time right there as Kabuki demolishes the back line. Kyrie is going to be taken out by Richie, who finds the yin-yang reaction despite the Immortality buy from the Sky King himself.
The cavalry charges forth towards the castle of the Sky Kings, and it is Kabuki just peering down the players of Fnatic ONIC. Keyboy left to defend his kingdom. Will this work out well for him? Because Kabuki is just an absolute beast.
30 seconds on the clock. It's 20 seconds for CW. They have a cannon mini. They have a lot more waves coming down in the mid lane, but they'll have to calculate it perfectly. Sans, 7 seconds. For him to respawn, Kabuki buys the immortality now. They need to go for the base straight up. And that's what he does. Kabuki on it, gets caught by the way to Dragon. Richie on it as well. This might be a little bit of a throw. Good speed of misery. Kabuki now doing some damage. Tugs with Terrifying. Now the Spear of Destruction.
Oh,
Going forward, Kabuki throws the Spear of Destruction, but it doesn't connect. He still goes forward, tries to make a desperate play happen, but it does not happen. Fnatic ONIC, they shut down the miracle comeback.
A string of insane plays. Goes, dominoes, falls for Team Liquid ID. They lose to the durability of Fnatic ONIC with a lot of players respawning. Now it is their time to defend on the opposite side of the map. They are on the opposite side of the coin.
Unlike the previous one though, no base turrets to help them. Look, they displacing James, good win a crown, but Sans pops into Primal Rat. James all but isolated. Kick with the way to Dragon, a minute Fury finds two, but Lookby's still there, just trying to distract Gurgun as he goes in for the hand sword, but he dies straight in towards Kyrie's claws. A triple kill for Kyrie, a winner crown, and game number 1 for the defending Indo champions.
The Cavalry were charging forth, and it turns out their swords were broken. The Sky Kings, divine intervention, they deny Team Liquid ID of that first win and a comeback in game number 1.
It was so close yet so far, man. Fnatic ONIC were staring defeat in the eyes and they said, not today. Denying Team Liquid from that amazing play and eventually immediately going in to flip the coin, knowing that there's a 50-second, 40-second death timer on the backline members of Team Liquid.